So this is under the hood of the car, the Mercedes E320 Bluetec 2007. So the soundproofing is just a big white piece of plastic, black piece of plastic held on by these screws like that at various points. So these are all 8mm sockets, though I'm actually using a 5/16 because I couldn't find an 8mm socket, and it just comes off with one of these nut driver things. I'm removing what I hope will be the last one I need to remove in order to get access to the drain plug. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I need to actually get the whole thing off. Might as well. It's still the oil pan drain plug is visible, but really it's gonna get messy if I don't take it off. Now I'm pointing the camera out the left-hand side of the car. That's, you're seeing the left-hand side of the car over there to get some idea. It must look really weird. So there it is, I think. Come on out. There. And the heat shield's out on my tummy. Let's get this. So here's our offending drain plug. Well, it's not so much offending as you can see. I've really changed the oil myself just once. Looks like a 15mm if I'm not mistaken, but let me go check. To give some more context, here's where it is. I'm lying down in front of the car, looking back under the car, and you can see that the drain plug is over here. Okay. The oil capacity for this car is 8 liters, or just over 8.5. It's 8.5 quarts, and I have 8 quarts of mobile Delvac here. Delvac 1300 Super, and I have only 8 quarts, so I'm gonna put half a quart of some other oil that I have lying around. Okay, this is the oil filler cap, which I'll remove before I start draining the oil. Okay, I've got this filter wrench here, which lets me sort of handcuff style filter wrench. Probably be kind of a mess inside, so I have to watch out. There, isn't this brilliant? That's the paper filter element. Oil pan drain plug turns out to be 13mm rather than the 15 that I first thought it was. So here we are. This thing, after it's first coaxed out a bit, just comes out by hand. It'll come out by hand. Engine's warm, so this is likely to be quite runny. And here is the stream of oil. Still managed to make a mess. Not too much of one, but the stuff really comes out in a hurry once it starts coming out. So hopefully this thing is big enough to hold it. Looks like it's gonna be. And once the stream becomes, just starts becoming a drip, I'm gonna just screw the drain plug back in. I replaced the drain plug copper washer last time, so I'm not gonna do it this time. I bet the purists will have something to say about that. But if it doesn't leak, I figure it doesn't matter. So here we go. Hey, something is dripping on my face. Ah, damn it. I'm about ready to put the wind is pushing the stream away from my pan. Come on, no, damn it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put it back in now, assuming that there's not a whole lot of oil left there. And I still feel warm mobile one on my face from the oil filter area. I have to get out from under here, assess the mess. Okay, this is the oil filter, and this thing just comes off, if I remember right. Looks like it takes both hands. Okay, here's our MAN filter, which goes into that MAN Evo Top HU821X, and this is what it looks like. And here is there's a big O-ring and a small O-ring here. Big O-ring, small O-ring. Big O-ring goes around the cap itself. Over here, it's inset right there. I have to take that out. And the little O-ring goes on the tip here. So I use these little pick things that I have to remove the O-ring. Here's one, and I can just insert it there and then pull it out, which again I'll have trouble doing with one hand. Okay, so I'm about to push the filter back in. I'm positioning it so that label will eventually face upwards, because this where you're looking at the cap upside down, and the new O-rings are in place. This is one of the new O-rings. The other one is in there at the tip of that. That's pretty easy to do. Okay, here it is. I'm tightening the filter cap back on. The filter's in place, so it turns easily for the first few turns, and then because the O-ring hits the flange, it gets more difficult, and you will need something like this. Makes it life a lot easier. It says 2.5 Newton meters there. You can see that my hand is expertly calibrated for 2.5 Newton meters. That, I think, is it. The purists are rolling in their graves. Here it's going quite well. Looks like that little funnel thing, the rubber funnel thing that they have built in, does a pretty good job of not letting the oil sort of seep down. So I'm going to put in 8 quarts or close to it, and then check the level. And I checked the level, the oil level. It already looks like it's max or even a little above, but that's because the car's up on a ramp and you're supposed to check the level with the car on level ground, which I'll do after I get it off the... Okay, there it is. The good old 642 engine purring away nicely. It's really ugly under there, isn't it? They just cover it up with this piece of plastic that just clips on, doesn't even bolt on. Okay, I'm gonna reset the service thing now. Service indicator in first position, and then that's it. That's displaying the temperature now. Press this reset button 3 times. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And then down, there you go, service data, minus button to go down, it says minus, there you go, and then I believe it's confirmation, full service. Oh, and one more thing, living as we do in a very litigious society, if you choose to do an oil change on your expensive car and ruin it somehow, or manage to drop the car on yourself and do yourself grievous injury, I'm not actually recommending that you do any of these things yourself. I'm just documenting what I did. If it's useful to you, great. If it's not, well, tough.